पाक भारत जंगबंदी में अहम और फैसलाकुन किरदार अदा करने पर भारतीय मीडिया अमेरिकी सदर ट्रंप को मुसलसल निशाना बना रहा है। हिंदुस्तानी मरकजी धारे और सोशल मीडिया पर सदर ट्रंप की तौहीन जारी है। हिंदुस्तानी सबसे ज़्यादा देखे जाने वाले मेन स्ट्रीम एंकर्स और सोशल मीडिया के तबसरे हिंदुस्तानी मीडिया का इस्तेमाल करते हुए आवाम की नज़रों में इनकी छवि को दागदार करते हुए हुकूमती सतह पर ट्रंप के हामी मौक़िफ़ को अदा करने की हिंदुस्तानी मुनाफ़क़त का सबूत हैं।
The leadership of India and Pakistan was unwavering, powerful, but unwavering in both cases. And we helped also with trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade, and we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war.
He's selling a narrative. The man is unable to get any ceasefire in between Israel and the Hamas. He's unable to get a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. He's not getting, quote unquote, a piece of the action there, and therefore he's trying to make a false claim out here. He's just trying to score a small little brownie point when his ratings are falling. I really feel bad for him. He has no idea about the ground situation. He has no idea about what's happening here. Till a few days back, he said that this is not for him to look into. And now he's congratulating both countries, trying to be a global peacemaker. And I think this is beyond him. I strongly object to the fact that the US president is saying that he has sorted out the conversation between two countries. I think President Trump does not understand the importance of difference between back channel talks or informal diplomacy or clandestine diplomacy or overt diplomacy. Somebody should
think this is typical Trump overreach?
This is typical Trump overreach. This is typical Trump overreach at a time when he does not have a mandate to do so. We cannot trust Donald Trump. I've been watching his statements, and I can tell you the man has an attention deficit disorder which is extremely serious. He is almost semi-permanently in a state of falsehood. I genuinely think so. He believes in overstatement and hype, and he does not care about the facts. At this point of time, he has a single-minded pursuit to rescue the suffering and disastrous situation of the American economy, which is why he'll compromise with anything and anyone. He's just made a U-turn. He keeps saying, oh, you know, I would have a lot of, I sorted the situation between India and Pakistan, but that is not the fact. First he said, I have nothing to do with it, 10 days back. Then he says, 4 days back, I did it. Then he says, everywhere, I did it, I did it, I did it. I closed it, I'm great. And now he says, I didn't really do it, but I take some credit for helping in it. There is no consistency between any of his statements. How can you be President of the United States of America and keep changing your position? Now he's taken a clear position against India. He wants to have a trade deal with India, and then he makes public statements that I called Tim Cook of Apple and I told him, do not build any factories in India. How can you have a one-way relationship with a country whose leader is saying that he's told Apple, he's put a gun to Apple's head, saying don't build in India? He talks too much. It's a lot of bluster. As of now, Trump is a failing politician. He has failed to put pressure on Putin, so he's getting frustrated. He cannot even put enough influence on Zelensky. And he cannot even put enough influence on Tim Cook of Apple. That's how weak he is. And if someone can put this sense into Donald Trump's head, this is not how presidents are supposed to behave. You are supposed to put on record what is verifiable and authenticated. You cannot be going and making these claims and then making a fool of yourself the next day. First you said, I carried out the ceasefire. I did it. I said, and these are his words, come on guys, let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. And let's do it. And because I'm Donald Trump, everybody said, yes, we'll do it. How non-serious can a president get? Now that's a white lie. How can you do this? Why doesn't the American media ask Donald Trump? You're embarrassing us. I don't know if anyone in the White House can trust Donald Trump at all. He keeps changing his opinion. Maybe that's why he's having problems with Elon Musk. He has gone and done a deal with a terrorist who's now the leader, Syria's so-called interim president. His name is Ahmed al-Shara. Now this man is a terrorist, and Donald Trump was sitting sheepishly with the terrorists yesterday. And he said, I'm doing this all for Saudi Arabia. So tomorrow if Saudi Arabia tells him to sit with any terrorist group, Donald Trump will happily sit with the terrorist group. And when he was asked, what did you think of this terrorist who you met? He said he's a young, attractive, tough guy. So tomorrow, if Osama bin Laden was around and Donald Trump were to sit with Osama bin Laden, he would even sit with Osama bin Laden.
Trump last week, he was in West Asia, but all he could talk about was South Asia and the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Trump announced it before either country did, and since then he's been claiming credit. He's talked about it almost every day, at every public engagement he's had, exaggerating the prospect of a nuclear war and insisting that he is the one who stopped it. The US has no direct role in what happened between India and Pakistan. At no point did they mediate a ceasefire. Donald Trump cannot ride roughshod over it. He may be desperate to claim credit for stopping a war, but India will not entertain this one. How will a man like Trump take it? And where needed, India is also pushing back. Last week, India moved the World Trade Organization, the WTO. India filed a complaint against the US at the WTO. It challenged Washington's use of tariffs on Indian goods, especially pharmaceuticals and automobiles. India called these tariffs arbitrary and discriminatory. In its filing, India has argued that the US is misusing national security exemptions and that American tariffs violate WTO rules.
American president once again trying to put up a bid that he should get credit for how India-Pakistan managed to bring a pause to the tensions, to Operation Sindoor, to the strikes and more. He's reclaiming again that he settled the conflict through trade. Now, this is despite the fact that India has constantly put out clarifications that no third-party mediation happened here. The USA and India had a conversation in the past few weeks, but that did not lead to the ceasefire. Donald Trump is clear. He wants to tell the world he's the one who's resolving all conflict.
It's very difficult for India to trust Trump for very good reasons. I mean, he wants us to buy F-35s. He wants us to buy all kinds of weapon systems from the US.
Yes.
Now, the US weapon systems typically have backdoors and they have kill switches.
डोनाल्ड ट्रंप अपना अलग ही उछल रहे थे. सारा क्रेडिट ट्रंप जो है वो लूटने की कोशिश कर रहे थे.
How can he take every single credit? Guys, I'm not going to give you trade. Guys, I'm not going to give you trade. And then they agreed all of a sudden.
Donald Trump overplaying his card. You saw my first angry reaction when Donald Trump issued the press release at 5:30 on Truth Social. Donald Trump should have released his comment or his Truth Social comment after the statement from the Indian side, but Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, went and made a press release. Why was it made to look like America has negotiated the settlement? Well, because America wanted it to look like America had negotiated the settlement. That was a very important day for Donald Trump. He was expecting to be seen as the author of two major ceasefires. Back-channel work was going on by the White House to get Putin to agree to a ceasefire with Ukraine, and back-channel talks were going on, and Donald Trump then felt that if India and Pakistan also agree to a ceasefire of sorts, then it will be a diplomatic coup for him. Whatever has happened on the 10th, Donald Trump's announcement, which was unnecessary, and our decision to hold back fire is a decision by us so that we can plan things before the next stage.
Just the personal manner strikes me as not entirely as agreeable or pleasant as one would like to see in a distinguished American political figure. And it's not politics. There are two Republicans in that list and two Democrats. But there was a certain both political heft, statesman-like gravitas, and intellectual quality that I find woefully lacking in this gentleman. That's the personal way.
डोनाल्ड ट्रंप की इस स्टेटमेंट को दोबारा भारत को तोड़ना चाहिए. ये हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान का अपना मामला है और अमेरिका का इसमें कोई साथ हाथ नहीं है. और जिस तरीके से भारत की पॉलिसी होती है वो सॉल्व करेगी. उसकी पॉलिसी में अमेरिका की कोई स्थान नहीं है.